I'm a little nervous to do this video. I was actually going to hold it until I'd had like 3 consecutive periods, but we're here and it's probably easier if I just put it out now because I'm getting a lot of messages about how I got my period back. I'm potentially due on, well, I think this is that. Yesterday I had a lot of period pains, but today I'm having nothing. Who even knows, right? Who even knows? Not me. So I thought I would do a really quick video answering some of my most asked questions since I've had my period back, because it's a lot easier for us all if it's all in one place, right? So let me set us up again, standard space. I wonder if I can like think about something a little bit more adventurous of where to set up or have a better backdrop. Or I think everyone knows now, especially if you're on Instagram, that I got my period back because I posted a photo of me crying. And if you haven't seen that I've got my period back, I've put, and you're on YouTube, I've put a video up recently. Yes, I got my period back. Quick overview, I suffered from amenorrhea, which is no period, for 2.5 years. In 2.5 years, I had 2 periods, and I got my period back last month. Right now, I'm due on around a week or so, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. I don't really know when I'm due on. Right now is when I'm probably my most nervous because I've had 1 period before and then didn't get it the next time. However, I have kept things very similar. I was ill, so you just don't know, right? But because I managed to get 1 period back and I'm getting loads of questions about it, I thought, okay, let's just do a top overview and a real quick video on everything that I did to try to get it back. I'll start off with like the first like main thing, and that's food. So a lot of us that have amenorrhea, a lot of us have that due to overtraining or under-eating or excessive dieting. There is a variety of reasons, but basically it kind of, secondary amenorrhea and hypothalamic amenorrhea, which is what I had, basically comes from an energy imbalance for a long time. So where you are burning more calories than what you are putting in. So the first thing that like I needed to look at was my food. I was a serial dieter. I avoided all carbs. I avoided anything high calorie, and I would eat a lot of chicken salads, and my salads would be like massive because then like all the fruit and the veg and the fiber would fill me up. I was eating very, very low calories and I was pretty tiny. I'll pop a photo here. I'll pop a photo here of a recent comparison that I did on Instagram. I was under fueling massively. So when it came to getting my period back, I started working with Renee McGregor, who is a sports dietitian, and she's worked with many athletes on getting periods back. And there was a few key things. I needed to make sure that I was actually eating enough. She didn't want me tracking my calories, but what she did want me to do is making sure I was eating actual meals every single meal, and making sure there was a carbohydrate in every single meal as well. So carbs were a big thing for me to increase. That we were in a pandemic, so my life, I was taken out of my life of what I knew of it and put in completely different ones. So I kind of looked at it and was just a bit like, well, I've got nothing to lose. Like everything else has changed, so I might as well change this. I made sure that I really rapidly increased my food. I think there was definitely times that I was probably a bit piggy at some points, but in my eyes, I was like, do you know what, my priorities right now are to get my period back. I was eating a lot more carbs, and I was cooking substantial meals to help keep me accountable. When I'm quite busy doing things like this and work and stuff, my food is the first thing that drops off. To keep me accountable, I would send my evening meals to my stepmom every day, and that just enabled me to keep me accountable, making sure that I was eating something proper and sustainable, and also featuring carbs. And also fueling around my workouts. I would always have something pre-workout and post-workout straight away. I would never leave the house or do any form of exercise without having something in me, especially first thing in the morning. I would also have food before I had a coffee, just because in the mornings your cortisol levels are at its highest, which is your stress hormone. If you have caffeine, that can increase that a little bit more. If you then go even longer without eating, because your body would have fasted throughout the night, it was just really important for me to get enough in me straight away so my body didn't freak out and think that I was starving it again. People have also asked questions about supplements. To be honest, I've flirted with a lot of supplements over the 2 years. I feel like there's not really much I haven't tried. I couldn't tell you whether one thing works or over the other, or whether they work. I take vitamin D and I take vitamin B12, but again, like, I don't take that religiously. At the start of lockdown, I took CBD for like a month and a bit straight, but I don't think that's necessarily long enough. I feel like there's lots of stuff out there that tells you like, this will get your period back, but there are fundamental things, right? You need to keep your stress down, you need to eat more, and you need to exercise less. Then working out, at the start of lockdown, and a bit, 18 months, I have been slowly decreasing my intensity. I am very slow, steady, don't freak myself out type of person. So I went from doing HIIT 7 days a week and running to a run twice a week and a strength session, and I was just slowly easing myself out of it. And then when it came to lockdown, I completely took 2 weeks off. I completely took a month off. I was just walking and I was doing a lot of yoga. After a month, I felt absolutely disgusted. I felt really sluggish because obviously add that with all of the food that I was eating, and I was like, I need to do something. So my best friend just said, Chloe, just go for a run and see how you feel, and I felt great. I spoke to Rini about running, and then it was just like making sure obviously I was fueling myself for those runs and making sure that I was prioritizing recovery. I still am a big believer that that month off where I was just doing yoga and walking plus eating a shit ton of food would have really, really benefited me in terms of like healing my hormones and making my body feel as if it can trust me again. But having said that, I have never quit exercise, and Rini has never told me I shouldn't work out. I chose to have that month off. It wasn't even a month off. I was actually doing maybe like, I was doing a lot of the Instagram lives actually, so I don't think I actually had it off, but I was doing a lot more yoga, and it was power yoga as well, so that's quite intense. I never completely stopped to exercise, but I did start to choose my workouts wisely. I started to have rest days in between workouts and really prioritizing recovery. Now my life is a lot busier. I've got a lot of different projects on that I'm working on, so I don't really have the time to exercise as much as I used to, even if I wanted to. So now I train Mondays and Fridays with a trainer. The reason why I train with the trainer is because they just make sure that I'm not pushing myself too much, but also pushing myself enough, and just making sure that like it just helps keep me accountable really. I also don't want to go back to the gym. Having a personal trainer outside of the gym helps keep me like doing like my strength-based stuff when I don't want to go back to my old gym. And like I said, like with workouts, I just like really prioritize recovery, I guess. Then moving on to stress, and stress is a huge one. So stress can help, you can stress your body through exercise. Exercise is a stress on the body. You can stress your body through dieting as well. So if you kind of sort those two out, then you can look at your everyday stress. Now I found that I started to go to bed at like 8:30, 9, and I know this isn't for everyone, but I was religiously told myself I would get like 8 to 9 hours a night. Sometimes I was going over that. The thing is it got to the stage that it felt as if that was one of the best things for my body. So once I was reducing my exercise and fueling enough, it's like my body was thanking me so much that I was going to bed early, and it was like by going to bed so early I was kind of like really repairing, because that's when you sleep, that is like your body recovers. I feel like my body really needed that. Now I do love an early night still, but I'm not so religious on it. I have too much to do really, and also a little bit more fun to have. When you're going to bed at 8:30, 9, you can't really do much of an evening. Epsom salts bath and self-care was like huge for me, still is. I love a good bath and like a real like exfoliation, and like just following like a self-care ritual actually really helps de-stress me. And I think having a list of the things that do de-stress you, so whether for you it might be watching a Netflix series or whatever that is that helps de-stress you, it's important to know what they are so you can go back to those. So I did a lot of meditating. I got into hypnosis. I was actually seeking that. In terms of stress, I just actively started to fill my diary with fun. So I'm a bit of I have a tendency to be a bit of an organisational freak. So previously I would have like blocked in my workouts, and I would have been like, right, 2 workouts a day, block in my meals, track my calories, blah 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 blah. Whereas actually I flipped that, and I was like, what if I'm organised about having fun? So I would look at my diary and be like, right, Katie, when can I see you? Zoe, when can I see you? Chloe, when do you want to do this? And I was blocking in fun, because once you start making room for fun, it's really hard to focus on the negative thoughts as well. Finally, the mind. The mind is a huge one. When you start fueling yourself, and when you start being kinder physically to your body, you naturally have the energy to be able to work on other aspects of your life. But I think a huge thing for me was knowledge. I started reading a lot more and educating myself, including self-help books. I've got a huge list of self-help books that I've read, which if you want to know just slide into my DMs and I'll give you it. I really started to focus on like gratitude lists, being really grateful for what I have right now, self-esteem work, hypnosis, meditation, and really learning to let go of my past and release all of those emotions that I was probably suppressing. I still have tendencies now where like I have the urge to go back to my old gym, but it's like, hold up, that way I look at it now is like whatever I was doing in that lifestyle before never served. I wasn't confident in my own skin. I wasn't happy. I thought I was happy, but I wasn't like solely happy, and I didn't have a period. It wasn't sustainable. I wasn't having fun. I wasn't enjoying my life the way I am now. So why would I go back to a life like that? Do you know what I mean? So why would I go back to doing things that made me feel like that? So I feel like the overarching things was making sure I was eating enough, making sure I was eating enough carbs, really reducing my workout intensity and schedule as well, and kind of like diving into who else am I? Like, what fitness isn't my life and it doesn't have to be, and there are other things that you're interested in, and just really seeking out and having fun. And then on top of all of that, really focusing on like de-stressing my mind and my body and really learning how to switch off. I feel like that's like a complete, I feel like that's like a real quick overview of how I got my period back. If you want me to go into more details about each thing, like food or exercise or whatever, then like let me know. Just a little bit kinder to myself, like learning to love myself, I guess. So yeah, like I said, if you want to know more, then let me know and I'll try and like go into all of these a little bit deeper. But this is like a little top line of how I got my period back. If you enjoyed this video, then please can you give me a like and subscribe to my channel if you're on YouTube, and if you're on Instagram, then maybe just like or comment or whatever, because all of when you support it, it really helps the algorithms and helps me make sure that my videos are getting to the girls and the guys that need it. Obviously a guy won't need to know how to get his period back, but you know, he might be going for overtraining or under eating, who knows. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Have a good day, bye.